Corfu, New York. This Socata TBM700 was cruising at flight level 280. Having lost contact with air traffic control for 25 minutes, the pilot finally regained contact and requested an ILS recovery. After being approved to descend, the aircraft then pitched down and its speed started to increase. However, the speed continued to increase and it continued to pitch down further and further until now it was in a spiral descent. After several pleas from air traffic control to stop his descent, the aircraft continued before crashing into the woods just 17 miles from its destination. To see what happened and why, stay tuned. The date was the 2nd of October 2020, and this Socata TBM700 was flying from Manchester Airport in New Hampshire in the US to Buffalo Niagrara International Airport in Buffalo, New York. The pilot and his passenger boarded the aircraft at 0914 and later took off from Manchester Airport at 10:19 and climbed to flight level 280. In the climb, the pilot spoke with air traffic control and checked in with Boston Air Route Traffic Control Center following a frequency change and continued to climb up to flight level 280. The aircraft continued in the cruise until the pilot was given a frequency change by air traffic control. The pilot didn't contact his new frequency and continued for 25 minutes before making contact on a different frequency. He was now 30 miles east of his destination airport and out of the blue contacted the ATC frequency requesting an ILS approach at his intended destination. The controller then instructed the pilot to descend to 8,000 feet and expect radar vectors for the ILS approach at Buffalo International Airport. The controller then recontacted the pilot and asked if everything was okay, to which the pilot replied, "Yes sir, everything is fine." The aircraft was cruising at about 190 knots at flight level 280, and after beginning his descent, the aircraft pitched down about 10 degrees and the descent increased to 4,500 feet per minute. After about 2 minutes into descent, the aircraft descended through 19,300 feet and then accelerated through its maximum operating speed of 271 knots. The aircraft then entered a right banking turn, reaching nearly 90 degrees with a pitch down attitude of 47 degrees. At this point, the controller contacted the pilot and asked him where he was heading. The pilot then provided a garbled response. The controller then instructed the pilot to stop his descent and maintain 10,000 feet, followed by an instruction to stop his descent and maintain any altitude. He didn't receive a response from the pilot. The aircraft, still in a descending turn, increased its rate of descent and airspeed, with the airspeed reaching 350 knots and the rate of descent peaking at 28,400 feet per minute. The controller continued several times to contact the pilot, all of which were unsuccessful. Just under a minute after its peak descent of 28,400 feet per minute, the rate of descent was decreased to 6,800 feet per minute. Several witnesses nearby reported hearing a very loud engine sound before then the sound of the impact was heard. Both the pilot and female passenger were killed when the aircraft crashed. Trying to identify why this happened is quite interesting, and even the final report struggles to truly identify what was the cause of this issue. It states in the final report that the probable cause was the pilot's failure to maintain control of the airplane for undetermined reasons during the descent to the destination airfield. Now, there's several things that could have happened here. There could have been significant weather, a malfunction with the aircraft, incapacitation of the pilot either through hypoxia or illness or drugs and alcohol. But all of these factors were tested. Toxicology was carried out on the pilot with no drugs and alcohol found in his system. The weather at the time of the incident was good. The wind was at 250 at 9 knots. Visibility was 10 miles. There was a few clouds at 2,000 feet and the temperature was plus 13 degrees. There was nothing identified that could have potentially caused icing or significant turbulence for the aircraft. Now, the first thing that I thought was hypoxia was probably the issue here, but there was no sign of decompression within the aircraft. The aircraft was also equipped with an altimetric valve, which provided automatic passenger mask actuations, oxygen mask deployment, when the cabin altitude reached between 13,000 and 14,000 feet. and the passenger oxygen mask was still in its housing when the aircraft was crashed. And with regards to the aircraft itself, all the major components were checked in the crash, and there was no pre-impact mechanical malfunctions or failures detected with the aircraft parts. The other thing that couldn't be accounted for was why the pilot didn't engage with air traffic control for 25 minutes. It may have been that the pilot was distracted or had an impairment, but there was clear breakdown in awareness of his position. However, when the pilot did re-establish contact, the pilot's communications were clear, nominal and timely, and did not suggest any impairment or the use of an oxygen mask. Additionally, when the controller asked him directly if there was any issues, he came back suggesting that there was nothing wrong. It is also suggested that perhaps because he had lost awareness of his position, due to the proximity of the destination airport, it may have created a heightened sense of urgency for the pilot and caused him to descend quicker than required or configure the aircraft for the approach, which may have served as an operational distraction. So for this one, I'm actually going to have to just leave it down to yourself to decide what you think the probable cause was. For me personally, due to the pilot not engaging in air traffic control for about 25 minutes, also providing a positive response to a "are you okay" question, but then becoming what seems incapacitated, for me, hypoxia seems to be the answer to this, but quite frankly, nobody knows and we can't be sure. I'd love to hear what you guys think was the cause of this issue. But as always, if you enjoyed the video, please drop it a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one.